Hello, and welcome to Team 7's Game Theory Simulation web app. This app uses the Google App Engine and combines Java, JavaScript, and JSP files. The purpose of this app is to implement the idea of the prisoner's dilemma in a simple two-player game. The prisoner's dilemma is an example of a game analyzed in game theory that shows why two individuals might not cooperate, even if it is in their best mutual interests to do so. To relate this to the prisoner's example, consider two gang members that are arrested and questioned. Each player is given the opportunity to either betray the other by testifying that the other committed the crime, or to cooperate with one another by both remaining silent. Here's how this can play out. If A and B both betray each other, then each of them will serve 2 years in prison. If A betrays B, but B remains silent, A will be set free and B will serve 3 years in prison, and vice versa. If A and B both remain silent, then both of them will only serve 1 year in prison. Now on to our app. It's a two-player game in which each player will blindly choose to either defect or cooperate with the other player. This will last for 5 rounds. First, an admin must set up the game. For the sake of this video, we have reached our daily quota of channels created that is allotted by the Google App Engine, as we can see right here. Because of this, I'm going to have to run through the game locally as opposed to through the deployed app, which will cause a few differences that I'll point out along the way. So first, the admin will choose to log in as an admin, who we will just call admin here. Normally, they would sign in using a valid Google account that is enabled as an admin on our app. So we want to make sure we check this box and log in. Now we will set up a game between two players. For the sake of this test, we will just do Johnny and Billy. Normally, on the deployed app, the admin would type in 2 users' Gmail accounts here instead of just names. Here in the payout table, the admin must create the game data. These cells will consist of dollar values that correspond to the amount of money each player will earn based on the decision they make. Here, if player 1 and player 2 both choose to cooperate, they will both earn $5. Here, if player 1 chooses to cooperate and player 2 chooses to defect, player 2 will only earn $2, player 1 will only earn $2, while player 2 will earn 8. Here we will use the same values but reversed for the situation where player 1 chooses to defect and player 2 chooses to cooperate. In these last 2 cells, if both players choose to defect, they will both only earn $1. Now we click Submit, and we get a message saying that game creation was successful. Normally, right here, the admin would send 2 emails, one to each user, that will contain a link to their unique game. But since this is being tested locally, it will work a little bit differently. I'm going to log out of being an admin, and over here, if we refresh the local data store, we can see that our game between Johnny and Billy has an ID of 9. Normally the link in the email would take them to a unique page that would be team7gt.appspot.com/game/9 so that we could see the unique game between Johnny and Billy. But here I will have to log in manually as a player. We'll do Johnny on this screen, not as an administrator. Then we want to open up an incognito window. Log in as player here. We'll do Billy here. Not as an administrator. And here we want to replace null with the 9 that corresponds to Johnny and Billy's unique game. Now when we see that both players are logged into their game, it shows the user's name here and the opponent Billy here. And on Billy's, we have Billy and Johnny just reversed. So I will click on Johnny to start a game, and on Johnny's page it will say Billy wants to play, do you accept? We click OK. Back on Billy's page it just notifies him that Johnny accepted, and the game begins. First I will show what happens when both players choose to cooperate. Both players will earn $5. Next, when both players choose to defect, Each player earns $1 more. Now, if Billy chooses to cooperate and Johnny chooses to defect, Johnny gains $8 while Billy only gains $2. Now we can see the same thing where if Billy chooses to defect and Johnny chooses to cooperate, then Johnny will only get $2 where Billy gets $8. And this will last for 5 rounds of people blindly playing against each other. After you have played 5 rounds, we get to this thank you for playing the Game Theory Experiment Simulator screen, and that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.